Welcome, listeners and viewers, to another episode on Rising Above Shadows of Abuse. Rasa. I'm your host, Gracebova. This is where we discuss topics relating to abuse, mental health, society, and culture. Today's episode, our first newsreel is from The Mirror, dated 7th of December 2024 by Adam Aspinall. Tina Nash was forced to give up her dream of becoming a nurse after a horrific attack 13 years ago when her then boyfriend gouged both of her eyes out. Tina Nash describes the perpetual blackness she must live in as fathomless, a darkness so complete it suffocates her. For 13 years now, ever since her then boyfriend gouged both her eyes in a horrific attack, she has not been able to see her children's faces. Forced to give up her dream of training as a nurse, she has become a recluse, trying to push on through the trauma and live her life as best as she can. One of the few sources of solace for the mom of two came from knowing the man who nearly destroyed her, Shane Jekin, was firmly behind bars, locked up in a maximum security prison where he belonged. But Tina, 44, has now learned Jekin, 45, is a step closer to walking the streets again. Authorities have approved his transfer to a cushy open prison, a move that often serves as preparing prisoners for release. And terrified, Tina fears no one will be safe from him this time. She says, "I am living in fear of this beast turning up. Or why should I be the one worried? Why can I not live in peace?" She added. His eyes go black when he turns. He has no feelings. There is no empathy in him. He's a monster. If he is released, he will kill. It is as simple as that. Jekin was jailed for life in 2012 after admitting inflicting grievous bodily harm, GBH. He was ordered to serve a minimum of 6 years for what police said was the most shocking domestic assault they had ever had to deal with, in an agonizing attack at her home in Hale, Cornwall. The year before, Jekin gouged Tina's eyes and severely beat her, breaking her nose and jaw before holding her prisoner for 12 hours. He had watched a DVD featuring eye gouging the night before the vicious attack. True Row Crown Court heard. Detective Inspector Chris Strickland of Devon and Cornwall Police said afterwards that the force believed Jekin had strangled Tina into unconsciousness so that he could inflict the appalling injuries. He said it was a premeditated, sustained, and vicious attack on a defenseless woman. Medics initially hoped they might be able to save one of her eyes, but ultimately they were unable to do so, and the young mom was left completely blind a month before she turned 30. Her sons were aged 13 and 3 at the time of the attack. Jekin had made multiple applications for parole, which have all failed. But now, with his planned transfer to a Category D prison, Tina fears he may return to Cornwall and worse. Open prisons have less security and can allow eligible prisoners to leave the jail unlicensed to carry out work or education in the community, Tina says. "I know he regrets not finishing me off. I still have a voice. If I wasn't here to tell the story, I would have been swept under the carpet and become just another statistic, and he would have been clear to come out, get a new girlfriend, and start the cycle of abuse all over again. So I know next time he hurts someone, he is going to finish them off. He should be in maximum security for the rest of his days, not allowed to live in peace and freedom at some soft jail. It's disgusting." When Tina met Jekin, he pursued her relentlessly until she agreed to date him. However, it was not long until the violence and beatings began, and at one point he threw her down the stairs, yet she stood by him. Tina says, "When he changed and began to hit me, it may sound stupid, but I didn't even realize I was a victim. I thought that somehow I had done something wrong, that my behavior had made him snap, that I had somehow pushed him. He told me he had never harmed women before, and I believed him. Only to find out after I lost my sight that was obviously not true. All that time, I thought it was my fault." Thinking she could change him, Tina stayed, even defending him in court. She says, "I always thought women were silly for sticking with men that hit them. I didn't understand it, but then When it happened to me and he blamed me, I made excuses for him and became just like them. It took me far too long to realize I was the victim. I only realized after he took my side. I even lied for him in court after he threw me down the stairs. That was the control he had over me. You will do anything for the one you love. Now she wants to warn other women who may be suffering in silence to find their voice before it's too late. If I could say one thing to any other woman making excuses for their abusive partner who might read this, it is: get out. It will not get better. No relationship is worth ruining your life over. She adds, it is going to escalate. It is going to get worse. Walk away while you still can. For a long time after being blinded, Tina struggled to adapt. For 7 years, she lived through what she describes as a breakdown. Even now, she rarely ventures from her home and only invites family and the odd friend to visit. She says, I am too embarrassed to show people what I am really going through. To be honest with you, because I see it as a sign of weakness and don't want to burden people with my thoughts and my feelings, so I suffer in silence most of the time. Most of my old friends have still not seen me face to face. I'm just too embarrassed to this day. I hate people feeling sorry for me. Determined to remain as independent as possible, Tina has shunned assisted living and does not have a guide dog or many domestic aids in the house. Although in recent years, technology and the advance in online shopping have meant she has at least been able to buy things for herself for the first time in years. She quips that she has more than made up for lost time, adding, my phone talks to me. I probably send a message quicker than a person with sight, to be honest with you. But as much as she tries to move on with her life, Tina admits the specter of Jenkins being released haunts her. She says, I feel abandoned by the system, alone, like I have been deceived. I am the one sat in the dark, suffering. He's in prison getting all the help he needs, while I have to wait months just to see a counselor. I've kept quiet about this for 10 years, but I cannot any longer. I don't particularly want to speak out, but feel like I have to now, because it feels like nobody is fighting my corner. He took everything from me when he took my sight. I cannot see my sons. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to care for people, but that's never happened now. I live in this dark room every day. I used to be really sociable, but you wouldn't catch me out now. I can barely go to the shops. There is no depth to the darkness I am forced to live in. It goes on forever, and it is around me forever. It suffocates me. I can never ever get away from it. Never come to terms with it. I want to get on with my life, but just don't feel like I can while he gets ever closer to freedom. So that's why I am speaking out now. If I don't speak up, who will? This is really sad. I hope the authorities will get to hear this and help this courageous woman in as best possible way as they can. Listeners and viewers, what do you think? Should Jenkins released from jail? Let me know your views and comments as relates to this via email address raisingaboveshadowsofabuse@gmail.com. Thank you.